Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Late Night with the Harvins. It's Friday, August the 7th.
Yes.
And we're so glad to have you on with us tonight. Our 30th anniversary episode of Late Night with the Harvins. Thank you so much for being on with us. Do us a favor, and won't you click right now and share with others, maybe host a watch party. Come on, let's get a gang of couples together so that we can talk about love, talk about marriage, talk about the secrets to longevity, and talk about our perspectives on the institution of marriage going forward. You got time? Come on, click. Let's see those numbers jump.
Come on, share. We're excited to share and to have
comment
friends on tonight with us as we celebrate 30 years of marriage. God has been good. God has been faithful. And we're just excited and happy to share. And we just want to talk about longevity and marriage and all the stuff that comes with it. And so come on in, bring your friends, bring your boo. You hear us. We got our song on tonight, My Boo, because I've got my boo next to me. And he's been my boo for 30 plus years. 30 plus years, sir. 30 plus years. Isn't that something? And I'm excited about what God is going to do in the next phase of our life as we now are empty nesters and enjoying that process. God is rebuilding and restoring. And so we're just excited about tonight. We have some special friends coming on tonight to help us celebrate 30 years of marriage and talk about their journeys and just celebrate life and marriage and all that comes with it. Hey, Minister Underdew, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for the anniversary.
Good evening.
Love.
Come on, won't you greet us in the comments so that we'll know who's on with us tonight?
Yes, come on and greet us. Come on, greet us.
We
Say
can
hello.
see who's on tonight. Good evening.
Good evening,
to the
Reverend
Underdews.
Janelle.
Good evening to Janelle Yolanda.
Yes.
Hey, great. Well, we've got friends waiting in the green room, in the green room, waiting to come on screen, and so we're looking forward to them sharing with us tonight for Late Night with the Harvins. All right, we of course some friends are having technical difficulties, so we got to see what's going on.
Oh Lord.
That made me lose the music. No, you're going to have technical difficulties because I can't lose the soundtrack.
You've lost it.
Oh, well.
Here we go. This is every week.
It's not every week. I just forget that.
Yes.
Oh, no, why can't
it's okay. It's part of our journey.
Why can't the phone do both?
It can't. I don't know.
It should be able to do both, in my opinion.
So we've cut it off?
That's a mess.
Okay.
That's a mess.
It's a hot mess, but this is every week.
Not every week.
It's every week, but it's okay.
You're right.
It's every week.
It's every week.
So it's okay. He's still my boo. I'm going to still keep him for the next 30 years.
We do it every
and
week.
We'll figure out this whole music part when I know my children are probably like, what's going on? Here y'all go again.
No, it's gone.
But anyway, we're so glad you're here. We want to celebrate and talk about life in this thing called marriage. I remember the day 30 years ago, August 4th, 1990. Was it 90? 1990. And
she was late.
I was late.
As a matter of fact, when the limousine pulled up, I was getting ready to. I was actually walking to
the door.
He wasn't
going nowhere. Don't
that's how
that.
late she was, and I was about to leave.
He was right there waiting, sweating, bullets.
I'm trying to tell you, if you
Hola, Joyce Turner.
If you call Reginald James Grant tonight, he will tell you.
Tonight or tonight?
Tonight.
Okay.
Call him tonight. He will tell you. I was walking down the hallway to the back door of Elliott Congregational Church and was about to get back in my rental car.
But guess what? He didn't. And here we are 30 years later.
They came
Move
running.
On, sir. Move on. I've been waiting for him.
The limousine just pulled up.
But guess
with the
what?
bride and
we have made up for it because in 30 years of marriage,
she's been late.
Married to a pastor, and all of my first ladies out there,
she's been late.
I have been waiting and waiting and waiting each and every Sunday for the bishop, the pastor, the youth pastor to wait.
I've
been waiting, sitting in the church waiting for the bishop to go home. So
she's been late.
Trust me, I have definitely
been late.
Definitely been waiting on the other side. So
she still
hey,
was
Jeff
late.
White, happy
It's a
anniversary.
difference
Thank you
between
so
leaving
much.
late to go
Oh
home.
my goodness. Can you please let
than
it go?
starting out late.
Oh my goodness. Are we going to celebrate or are we going to have a fight?
We're not having a
Okay.
fight. I'm just
because the
facts.
truth is I've been waiting for the bishop many a Sunday.
Trying to tell you.
So he waited one Sunday, one Saturday for me.
No.
I've been waiting a long time, many Sundays, and we can call the deacons of the Emmanuel Christian Community Church. We can call the stewards of Bethel A&E Church, Baltimore, Maryland, and talk about all the times that I have had to sit and wait.
Well, with that said,
yes. Mm-hmm.
With that said, you still were late.
Oh, okay.
History records.
We have guests.
That everything.
So let's bring some of our guests on so we can chit chat.
So we're gonna bring some of our friends on, and this is not all our friends, but these are some of our nearest and dearest friends.
Our OSP cruise.
This is part of our OSP cruise. So we're gonna go far south first and bring on screen.
Hey, Reverend Mel and
coming in from Charlotte.
Hey.
Pastor Tony and Mel. Y'all need to shift y'all camera a little bit so Tony can get all the way in the scene.
See the bishop just, directing.
There you go. So that's Melody and Tony Boone.
Hey.
So they live in two places. So y'all in Virginia Beach. Y'all in Charlotte tonight.
We're in Charlotte this week.
This week y'all in Charlotte. That's good.
Yeah, next week Virginia Beach.
And how many years? How many years have y'all been married?
37.
37
years.
No, not 37.
Oh, wait, what?
We have been married 36 years and 9 months.
Okay.
Okay. Home stretch.
Now she got married. She was illegal before we were actually legal.
Oh wow! Say more. Say more.
Now all the years
I just leave it there.
How did that happen?
I was young and naive.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
I was being preserved by God.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, I see. Legal, but I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she was a little
Lisa, let's tell the pastor to shut it down.
I hear you, Mel. I hear you, girl.
I'm gonna leave that all alone.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you.
So
thank God for y'all 36 years and 9 months.
9 months.
When's your anniversary?
November 12th.
Wow.
November 12th.
And I was on time.
Oh, thank you so much, sis.
She was on time.
I was walking down the aisle at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow. You go, girl.
Ooh,
I'm impressed.
With trumpet blowing.
Yeah, we were about an hour and a half off from that.
Well, see, the next time when you redo it over, get you a female limousine driver. And so if you have any problems, somebody late, the limousine driver will take care of that.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Good advice. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're gonna keep stay right there, Mel and Tony. We're gonna have a grand conversation. We're gonna add to the conversation tonight another pair of our dear friends of ours, Grant and Margaret Thompson. We're gonna go down 295, just 25 minutes, and they are Margaret. Glad to have you on tonight. Thank you for being on.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Grant, what is all of that?
I know, right? I know.
That's COVID-19, huh?
Right. I'm coming into my grandfatherhood.
I see.
Coming into your grandfatherhood. Okay.
I see.
Now listen, this what I just need to know. Do you all need to go into you all's neutral corners?
No, we good.
No, we good.
We're all good, right?
Over here, this is a 30-year-old debate.
It is.
Okay. All right.
We've been talking every time we talk about our wedding day. We have this debate because I always have to remind him that I have been waiting for 30 years.
Yeah.
Who was late?
Wow. I was late for the wedding, absolutely. Right. But But in 30 years, I have waited after service when the business is over. We don't get to go home, do we, ladies?
No, we do not.
And we
No.
wait. And that
Now-
has been a constant.
Right.
Let me bury this for one second.
Oh, Lord.
Let's just
Sad bishop.
let's commit this body to the ground. The reality is there's a difference between the tardiness that I speak of and the delays you speak of.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna
leave that
I'm
right
gonna set
there.
that right there and let it collect dust because that's a drop the mic and move on moment. All right.
Okay. All right.
A council moment, perhaps, but
What
that's
then shall we say to these things?
because clearly it's still an issue, you know. Like,
Right.
you know,
Oh, it's not an issue. It's not an issue.
every
I
time
was just-
we bring up the wedding, that it comes up. So
well, I mean,
it's an issue.
every time we bring up the wedding, we talk about Philip's old colony house. That's where the reception was.
Okay.
So it's just
Anyway,
it's just part of the conversation.
Grandma, Margaret, this is at home with the Harvins part. I don't know.
I don't know.
So,
What series is this?
I know this is like a new series here.
this
Oh,
is not
Lord.
a new story.
Yeah, this is the wedding edition.
Margaret,
Right.
tell everybody how long you've been married.
36.
Oh, so 36 as well.
36
It
years.
might be 36 in October.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
36 in October.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So
and she
tell her
robbed the cradle.
she robbed the cradle.
cradle.
Okay.
Yeah, she's what? You what? 4 years older?
Oh
than me?
no, indeed.
How old are you?
2.5.
Straight him out, Margaret.
What
Straight
you
him
say,
out.
Margaret? No, indeed.
2.5 years.
Yeah, I was 22. She was 24.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not bad.
That's
Yeah.
not bad at all.
No. I
Wow.
had to teach him. Had to keep teaching him a few things.
That's why I got her, because I like women.
Well, all right, teacher.
All right.
Teachers and students. Well,
I
now.
like them, the students.
But I don't know. He's not a good student all the time.
I don't know.
He's not a dropout.
Right, exactly.
That's not a dropout.
That's
That's
good.
good.
It's not
That's
a
good.
dropout.
Right.
He's still
I'm
hanging
right.
in there. He's still hanging in there, Madam
I
Teacher.
see you. Way to recover, T-Boone. I like that.
Right.
He's not a dropout. That was
I'm
good.
trying to be the teacher's pet.
35 years and ticking. He's still in.
Good.
I'm
Wow.
trying to be the teacher's pet.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Okay. I see
We're
you.
gonna stand down from there.
All right.
That's above my
I thought this was late night with the Harvins.
That's late night.
Oh,
That's right. Late night.
late night.
There's
It's late
30
night.
conversations.
No
You can only discuss
At
that night.
night, right?
That's right.
All righty.
So,
then.
so either one of you guys want to share your thoughts on, longevity in marriage and how you've gotten to this point?
Wow.
What do you believe are some of the core values, some of the attributes that if we were to leave breadcrumbs for those that are behind us on the road, what are the things that we know are the tried and true values of being able to make marriage last, make it stable?
Well, I'll go first. For me, I think the willingness to talk to each other, even when you're upset with each other.
Right.
I think to have a spirit of forgiveness, even if it's something small, because sometimes we can get pretty petty if it's a small thing and we can't forgive them. And I also think too, to remember why you married them in the first place.
That's good.
And, when you realize who that person is, outside of the pastor's robe, outside of the person in the pulpit, you remember who he is, what he means to you,
Aww.
how he makes you feel. I think that's what helps build longevity in a relationship.
Yeah.
And the three of us were pastoral couples. It's hard sometimes.
Yes, it is.
And then you put on the hardness of raising children, having finance problems, sickness, all these different things. But you got to remember why you married each other in the first place. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing, and forgiveness. I think we may have each done something that hurt the other one. You've got to be able to talk about it and forgive and move on.
Right.
Because you could get stuck in that rut of holding a grudge.
Right.
And always throwing it up in someone's face. Mm-hmm. But it's best to talk about it, forgive it, and let it go and move on, because the enemy is going to keep on sending you challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else is coming around the corner.
All right.
And so I just think that's critical when you look at how to stay together. And I think that's the reason why we've been together, almost 40 years. I mean, we've got 2.5 years and we'll be together 40 years. That's a long time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with her. Yeah, I've been with her longer than I would have been with my mother had I stayed at home. But just to ditto some of the things. What y'all laughing about, Thompson?
Hey, look, you can tell who the mama boy is, right?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Go ahead, Pastor Tony.
But anyway, just to ditto on some of the things that Melody said, as all of us know that marriage is a challenge. You can have a beautiful wedding, which we had a beautiful wedding, beautiful courtship leading up to the wedding. But after that, when they take down all the decorations, when they send you on your way, that's when the challenges come. It's you go out thinking that life is going to be the same way as it was leading up to it. Courtship is something totally different than marriage when you have papers on one another. And one of my things is that I've told her all the time, and I tell couples even today, which have helped us, and this is my own remedy that I use. You got to learn how to pick and choose your arguments, because you're going to have them all day. They're going to come all week. That's what the enemy is. Whatever God brings together, he is there to divide instead of sunder. So you got to know that the enemy is going to try to get in there and separate the two of you. And so those arguments that I figure I can win, you're going to have them.
Right.
You jump in and you respond to those, and those that that you're not going to win, you just give in to it. And that's where the compromise comes in at. That's where the compromise comes in at. Some that you're going to win, some that you're going to lose, but it's all about us working together about it. So our number one issue was my mother taught me how to fold towels.
Oh, that is right.
That's right. That's our first
hey, Lisa, y'all had the wedding argument. We had the towel argument.
So you know how, as newlyweds,
oh my goodness,
tell me how to fold towels.
Wow.
I am a skillful towel folder.
You put that on the job description?
Here we go.
That's right. So she comes in with this lady stuff from North Carolina, trying to do the opposite way of folding towels. And so I said, forget it. I mean, we had somebody discuss, you're not folding the towels right. I mean, it was really leading up to something. I said, oh, God, what is this? I mean, it's just a towel.
He's right.
And because she wanted them stacked one way in the closet.
That's right.
And the way I was folding, they're going to be stacked the same way. So it didn't make any difference which way the towels was folded. I never told my mother dying knowing I don't know how to fold towels, but that's okay. But it's the small things.
Right.
See, that's how the enemy gets in. It's the small things that can lead to something bigger. It's always about, you left dirty clothes on the floor. So now we got to a place that if you don't want to pick it up, just step over it. That's it. Why you leave this down here for? Why you got this for? Why you leave the dishes in the sink like this for? Either you're going to do it. That's where the compromise is. She's going to leave something in the sink. She's going to drop something on the floor, whether it's accidentally or whatever. And
so you don't drop it on the floor.
You
don't drop anything on the floor.
You just turn around and just do it. It's so small, so mild.
Exactly.
And that's how the enemy will slip in with the small, sneaky candid stuff.
Yeah.
And he'll start out with that around 7 a.m. in the morning. And so by 7 p.m., you don't even want to eat together. They want to look at each other because you feel mad about what's going on. 7, 8 in the morning.
He's right.
And then it's just like she said, if you don't correct it by unforgiveness, now you don't move into the next day. And so the next day has its own trouble attached.
Yep.
So
His
this
own trouble.
piling up, because and 6 months later, you're in front of a marriage counselor, you're ready to get a divorce, and when they fault isolate, troubleshoot this thing all the way down, do contact tracing.
Come on.
All right.
Back to the origin of this thing. And you found out that somebody left a pair of dirty drawers on the floor.
It all started from there.
In front of the wash machine.
Right.
It all started with that one little thing.
One little thing. It's about compromising, just talking to each other. And I think we just learn how to talk about it, come to some type of solution, and keep it moving.
But also, we're just thankful because I found the Lord seriously after I got married. So that has helped tremendously, because if I did not have the Lord, I'm sure I would have gone from there and she would have went her other way. But he's got to be the center of the relationship, to hold the two pieces together. And that has helped tremendously in getting a good word.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. So we're not perfect. We're striving every day as we approach 37. But I've come too far with it to turn around now. Somebody said
that's right.
They said the road wouldn't be easy.
Before the Thompsons, Grant, Margaret, before you jump in, I want to bring Pam and Tyrone Zimmerman on screen, because they keep popping in and out of the green room. And I want to let them know that we see them, and we're going to bring them on screen. And then as soon as I bring them on screen, Grant, Margaret, you can share what you believe to be the attributes necessary for longevity in every relationship. We are happy to have joining us tonight. And I know y'all really, some of you who watch us every Friday don't believe that Tyrone and Pam Zimmerman really exist.
Right, because we've tried so many times.
We tried to get them on so many times.
But they're here.
But last week they had a major catering job and they didn't get back home in time. And they are part of the Reformation, of which I am the first assistant presiding bishop, and we're glad to have the Zimmermans on with us tonight. They have the Zimmermans with us tonight, and they're the baby of the group. They are approaching 30 years of marriage in a few weeks, right?
Anniversary.
The end of the year. December.
Oh, in December, so in a few months. We're happy to have them on, and glad that they made it in tonight. And they done popped in and out of this conversation about 5 or 6 times. I don't know what y'all were doing.
Issues. We having the iPad's not working. The connection was really bad. So you see us little on our phone, like a little teeny tiny, but we're here.
Y'all doing just fine now. Mm-hmm. Now, just before we let you jump in, the Thompsons are going to weigh in on what they think are the breadcrumbs, the attributes we need to leave for those behind us, the secrets to longevity in marriage. Grant, Margaret,
what's up?
Hey. So I'm a Tony. If you can't beat them, you join them.
That's right. That's right.
I had to do early on. I got tired of like wiping down counters, picking up, cleaning up. So I joined in.
That's right.
What does that mean?
I was going to get on here and say some spiritual stuff.
We'll do real weird stuff tomorrow and Sunday. Late night. This late night. We'll do spiritual stuff tomorrow and Sunday.
So 2 things. First of all, I'm the product of a broken home and a divorce. I'm a product of a divorce. My mom and my dad divorced when I was 6 years old. So I grew up without a male role model in the house, a father in the house. And so one of the things that really keeps me set on longevity is the fact that I never wanted to, I always said if I have kids, I never want to leave my children the same way my father left me. Mm-hmm. And so that put an extra fight in me in times. The other thing is, Margaret and she could talk about this too. She and I were friends before we became lovers. And
in a short span of time.
In a very short span of time. And I'm kind of glad about that, because then it underscored for me that a friend loves at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad we had that dynamic first, because now I have to learn how to, when we get on each other's nerve, find a way to love her at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just, been two of the things for me that has, given me a mindset of longevity and not wanting to, just throw in the towel. And certainly there have been opportunities, and we both can attest to this, that there have been opportunities for us to say, you know what, I'm going my way, you go your way, and we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I learned throughout marriage, especially in difficult seasons, is sometimes you got to process stuff and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you got to choose your fights.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pick your battle.
Process it and let it go. The things that you can benefit and learn from, you cleave to those things, and the things that don't matter, those are the things you discard and you let go. And I try to bring that mentality into our relationship every time I get up in the morning, because I know it's not going to always be, lily and, perfect. We had an argument today. Well, not an argument, but it was.
Was the argument about whether you're going to turn left or right?
What we talk about?
It was about the food.
Oh my God!
I'll talk about that. I'm not going to hold y'all's program up with this foolishness.
Oh my God.
Well, I want to recommend to everybody watching tonight, if you have not tuned into On the Road with the Thompsons, it's the best reality TV show on the market today.
Only second to At Home with the Hawk.
Whatever. So just so you know, the Thompsons, we'll call them on the phone, or they'll call us, and they'll be in their car, and then the next thing you know, they're having a battle. Get it,
Margaret. You know what? What's the dynamic of our relationship has always been oil and water, but it works for us.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and then y'all give me good entertainment on whether or not we're supposed to go left or go right. No, Margaret, move over to the other lane. That's the lane you want. That's the lane. Oh, this is the most hilarious thing.
Oil and water works for us. It really does. And I'm glad that she doesn't like some of the things that I like, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it's good.
It works for us, though.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to be identical. We're different people with different, likes and desires, and so sometimes we're not going to agree.
Right, but I think on a serious note, communication, definitely commitment, like he said. We both could have gone our own separate ways, but the commitment to stay with one another, work it out, and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
We have some others to add to it.
I got a few more seeds.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hog up the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go over to the Zimmermans. Do you think we should leave on the road for those coming after us? What's the secret to longevity in a relationship?
The secret. Well, our secret is we don't allow any temporary issue affect our permanent covenant. That's what we live by.
That's good.
That's what we live by. So we know every day, as the Thompson said, there's going to be some temporary issues that's going to come up. But we don't allow those temporary things to affect what's permanent. A covenant, our love for each other, we allow that to show before everything else, because we know every day we're gonna have challenges. So that's what we live by, and that's what has been keeping us for 29 years, what is 8 months, and
get it right, Reverend. Get it right.
I want to call the roll.
Yeah, that's what has kept us, and the fact that we have known each other since we were 13, 14 years old.
Wow.
We were friends for years. She didn't like me at first. I'll tell this story every time. I loved her first, and I had to win her over.
Wait, what was that? What was that, Harvin?
Because I didn't like him either.
She couldn't stand me.
Wow. Yeah, she didn't like me. She said, "You're a good friend, you know that, you know." And she's always been my dream. So if you ever see any of my posts when I talk about my wife, I say this is my dream.
No.
Because this is who I knew I was supposed to be with from the
Nice.
time I was 13. And we didn't get together until I was 24.
Something like that.
24.
Yeah.
Which was still young, but I thought at 13 I was ready.
I was
Wow.
not ready. No.
Thank God we didn't get together at 13.
Right.
We wouldn't have gotten here. But I do want to say, first and foremost, we want to say to the Harvins, happy anniversary to you.
Thank you so much.
But it is
Yes,
done.
we're celebrating. We're going to celebrate all month. We were supposed to be in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a big disappointment, but we're grateful
Yeah.
that we're still healthy. Our families,
Yep.
kids are healthy. We're grateful.
That's
Yeah.
We were supposed to be on a plane tonight heading to Ghana. But my birthday's next week, and Bishop Douglas and the church was going, but that's okay. To your point, everybody is healthy and we're here. So in God's timing, we'll all do all of those things that we were supposed to do, or we thought we were supposed to do now. But but also in marriage for us, and the challenges, talking about challenges, we had gotten to a place of, and I use air quotes, coasting.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one decides to become a senior pastor.
Oh, wow.
So at 27 years in,
It was a
he took
decision.
a hard left.
Hard left.
And so we're still trying to navigate back onto the coasting side of things. But thank God, we came up, and not in as my kids, that's what they call it now, the cancel culture. We're in the cancel culture. You get a little bit of challenge, and friends cut off friends because there was a little bit of something. Thank God we're not in the cancel culture, anything like that. We know, we're in this forever. But that thing, turned a hard left, and so we're still trying to navigate heading towards 3 years back on that coasting road.
Yes.
We ain't on the coasting road yet, but at least we're turning back towards it.
And then this pandemic hit right in the middle of it, which threw everything up. So we're doing good though. I'm a keeper.
Are you guys empty nesters?
No. Oh, sorry. Did I say that too loud? Our two daughters are still here.
26 and 21. The 26, she was in school, then left, but she's back, graduates in December.
Okay.
So after that, she's like, I'm going, Mom and Dad, but they're girls. So, you don't try to kick them out as fast as you kick out boys.
Right.
But the older, you get, it's like, okay, it's turning into from your daughter to another woman living in your household. So that could be a little challenging because she's 26. But during this time, I'm glad that they're here with us.
Right.
It'd be more of a wreck if they were living someplace else. So I'm glad right now they're in the house with us. So no, we're not empty nesters.
Okay. So Tony and Mel, you guys are new empty nesters.
2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Here's to you too.
Hey,
It is wonderful.
hey, they got a nice place they moved into also.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
They start out in a place I want to retire in. I said, oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it has been, I can say this, it has been a wonderful 2 weeks. It's been awesome.
Oh, the best is yet to come.
Tony chasing you around the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, actually. And it has been so much fun. It's like we're courting again.
I was going to say, she's courting me again.
Yeah, we're courting again. And it is so much, I'm telling you, it is so much fun. And we're only 2 weeks in. It's like, oh my gosh. But
If y'all already knew it was this good, you probably would have
Blushing, y'all.
years ago.
I think Mel is blushing.
It's funny because Mel, initially, I remember when, this was going to happen, you were kind of nervous and you were, really like, oh, I'm gonna miss my boys and what am I gonna do? And I can't, they're leaving me. And now look at you.
Right.
Well, I had to go through the grieving process, after, seriously, after Britt died, I was really holding on too tight. And I did not want them to leave me.
Right.
Because I was afraid something was going to happen to them.
Right.
But something happened when, the boys called and said they were coming home for the sheltering in. And the four of us were here, and something that was so powerful happened. Brian, who's our 26-year-old, and I were going to Walmart to pick up some things for dinner. He's 27. I'm sorry, 27. And we were stopping at a light. And, I was doing my mommy thing. Baby, how you doing? Everything okay? I'm asking him 1,000 questions. And he looked at me and he said in a very manly voice, Mom, you do know I'm 27, right?
Oh my God.
And I was like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know. He said, no, seriously, I'm 27 years old. When are you going to stop treating me like this? And he kind of hurt my feelings. But instead of me getting an attitude, I listened to him from his point of view.
Right.
And it all made sense.
Yeah.
And he said, you are going to have to let me be a man. And he said, and it's okay. He said, I love you. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm a grown man. You got to treat me like a grown man. And I said, okay. And, we went to Walmart, we shopped, but that thing was in my spirit. Oh gosh. And I just came home and I cried a little bit and I talked to the Lord and I made a decision. And I said, you know what? That's it. And so, and even with my 22-year-old, I said, if I'm going to treat your brother like that, I'm going to treat you like that as well. So I made a decision and I decided to let them go. I stopped grieving. I'm going to be a mom when they need me. I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to text them, except, every now and then they're grown men. I'm going to treat them like grown men. And I'm going to enjoy my husband.
I ask her every day, does she want me to work on getting her pregnant again?
Oh my God!
All right. So now
that's what I'm talking about, Tony.
Let's segue.
We can take it from 27 down to 0 and
seriously, and we'll let you move on. He did ask me, did I want to have another baby? And
I was kidding.
And we know that he was
kidding.
All right, Abraham and Sarah, y'all going to y'all keep that anointing right down there in Charlotte with y'all.
North Carolina.
We're not practicing Abraham and Sarah.
But it's been wonderful. It has been wonderful.
On down the street.
I'm happy for you guys.
And I think that's what I'm going to move on because it has been my prayer. Just like Grant, I came from a divorce household as well. I'm the baby of 8. And I've always had people around me, things like that. And my mother's prayer was, being a single mother, please let me live long enough to see my youngest son, all of them grown and on their own. And that was my same prayer. I'm going to hang on in here. And it was the same thing that I told Melody Grant, that if you leave, go ahead and leave. But I'm going to take these sons with me. And at that time, the daughter with me, because I don't want them to grow up without a father. And so it was enough fight in me to hang on in there and work it out. It is a blessing to see that your children are grown and really on their own. And so now I'm at peace with that. They're going to have to be on their own. They are mature enough. I pray that we poured enough God in them to make good, godly decisions about things. And that's all we can do.
Right.
We got to release them from the nest after a while. And so I do believe in our heart that we prepared them for the very, very best to face the world out there. And the world is theirs. Yeah. And so we can go on and live, because I've been raising children for 31 years.
See?
31 years I have been raising children. And so It's time for us to live and to do, and the amount of, I mean, I'm saving money already just in groceries.
See now.
I'm going checking out to the cashier at the grocery store. I have nothing in my basket. 3 weeks ago, it was costing me $200 to $250. I have some vegans in my household. I got red meat eaters in my household. Oh, that's gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's gone. And so it is a blessing. And so you do want, but the thing about it is they're just literally just down the street. Even if they're in California, they just a plane ride away.
That's
and
right.
They have to live their life. I'm so happy for them. And we just, my job now is to pray, keep them covered. And God will continue on to keep them, and they'll be able to go higher.
Yeah.
And so we thank God. But I'm not going to sit there and talk that much because I'm going to turn it back over to Durant and Lisa.
You were doing just
Tony's
fine.
cracking me up.
So with all that you just said, we completely agree with those breadcrumbs, and I think it was Grant and Margaret that kind of gave the first nod to it, but then I heard the same thread from the Zimmermans and the Boones. We believe that one of the secrets, and it's a primary secret to longevity in a relationship, is that you are friends first.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we spent one Friday, that's all we talked about that evening, was the nature of our friendship preceding our relationship.
Right.
And without the firm foundation of a friendship, I think that relationships have difficulty evolving and navigating through difficult times because there's no lowest common denominator to keep referring back to. And what maybe was Melda said, at the end of the day, you go back to the reason why you fall in love, because it stands on a firm foundation of friendship. Now, it was interesting to hear one of the commonalities between the Zimmermans and the Boones for me is that Tony, you said you came to the Lord after you were married,
right?
And then Tyrone and Pam make this hard left into ministry. Well, after they were married, he becomes a senior pastor, and
Grant and Margaret too.
And us too.
Well, Grant and Margaret, they pretty much met in the church with the church on board.
Yeah.
And so the reality that it's a good segue for me to come to the second part of what we wanted to talk about tonight is what impact do you feel like ministry had on your marriage?
Oh God.
And then flip that coin and then address what impact do you feel that your marriage is having on your ministry? Whether that is, and I want to kind of look at that through both ends of the calendar, whether it is the positive takeaway or whether it's the negative stuff that we just really need to let wash down the drain. So just jump in, whoever wants to go first.
Well, for us, when I married Margaret, I was a junior deacon. And I knew that I was going to pastor, but I hadn't preached an initial sermon or anything.
I didn't know.
It wasn't on, in the forecast. And then a series of things happened. And before you know it, I've preached a trial sermon. I have an opportunity to do an interim pastorship in Deer Park, Long Island, New York. And so one thing I thank God for, the boys were able to be in elementary school, and they already had a love for church. And because I was a musician, all they wanted to do was play instruments. And so we would drag them up and down the road, going to Long Island every Sunday, driving from Lorton, Virginia to Long Island, and turning around and preaching, turning around and coming back. And so we kind of, we both made up our mind that we weren't going to forfeit the maturity and the growth of our family for the church. So if the boys had games on Sunday, somebody else had to preach, or
we made
arrangements,
for them to
you
get
know,
there.
for them to get there.
Mhm.
And then as soon as church was over, we would be to the basketball court or the football field, you know, to be at their games. And so we were intentional about not letting church
That's good.
take over our family,
Right.
and not, you know, our family living vicariously through the church.
Mhm.
Our church life was one thing, and then family life was a whole nother thing. And I think how that benefited the church is people saw that example, and people began to, you know, do the same thing and not be so overly devoted to the ministry that they would forsake relationships and, you know, family events and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we brought a balance to it.
yeah, exactly. We had to approach it with a balance because I came out of a ministry where it was just one-sided, and it was the church, and then, you know, everything else, and seeing how, you know, that family, you know, dealt with that and how, you know, it almost destroyed them, just made me that much more determined that if I ever had that opportunity, I wouldn't approach it from that perspective.
That's good.
That's
Or
good.
we wouldn't approach it from that perspective.
Right.
That's rich. That's rich. Anyone else? Anyone else?
When I was married in '83, became an officer in the church by '85, and 5 years later, I was doing my initial sermon. And somewhere in between there, I had a baby. First baby was born. We had twins, and then look at the grades.
I can't take you, man.
Huh? And so I went straight from 5 years of marriage and family. And when I got the call to go into ministry from the Lord, I just went from one side of the pendulum to the other, because I assumed that's what I was called to do. And no one was there to teach me or to pull me back. You know, at that time, you don't listen to your spouse, you don't listen to the wife. You just go gun-ho into ministry. And I failed family miserably. And the only thing that caught my attention was when my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, critically ill. And that's when I had to stop ministry and to put my focus into family. Unlike the Thompson, we missed so many ball games and so many opportunities to put them in class for swimming and things like that, because I was doing ministry up and down 95 around the Beltway in DC. And not being at home, I was in school because school is mandatory in the ME church. So I was working all day from 6 a.m. to about 4, then from 4 to about 10 at night, I'm in school. And so I really didn't see my children, really didn't see my wife until the weekend. And then on Saturdays, I was at the church working full time because they were paying tuition to go to divinity school. So I was doing weddings, I was doing counseling, whatever, funerals, whatever. And then on Sunday, I was in church for 2 services and then sometimes 3 services to serve as armor bearer for the pastor, and really didn't say anything. And no one was there to tell me, you need to stay home. You need to reassess your priorities and put wife and children first. And so it took the illness of my daughter that I finally heard the Lord to say, sit down, reassess, put your family first, and I'll take care of that, because even after you're gone, ministry is still going to be here. And so the only deficiency I had was I did not have a strong teacher or somebody to now she told me over and over, if not every day, but I did not listen to Melody because I felt I got to do this for God. This is what God called me to do. I got to do this. And so, and even when the Lord called me to start pastoring and to build a church up from the ground up, that was full time. I threw everything, money,
all of our savings,
all time, and everything else into ministry, and not being home again. So it was really, really devastating. It was really devastating. I lost so much precious time with my sons. In the last conversation I had with them before they left a couple of weeks ago, I said, I'm just so sorry because I have failed. But thanks be to God that now you ought to know the ultimate Father is God, because he compensated for a whole lot. that I didn't do for you.
Wow.
Because he had to have stepped in, because they turned out as close to perfect a parent would want them to turn out. In absence of my lack of not being there to properly father them like I should. And so they still made it. They still made it. And the youngest son had to stay in this house by himself for 3 years. Night and day, 3 years. Because the bishop had sent me to Northern Virginia to pastor, and Melody was there with me. And he had to get up and go to school by himself, come home by himself. Nobody to greet him, nobody to say good morning, nobody to fix him nothing to eat. All during the weekends, he was in isolation. And so, but by the grace of God, he didn't get on drugs, he didn't become rebellious, neither one of them did.
Thank you, Lord.
And that's what I'm saying, how God just stepped in and compensated for the lack of the physical father being there. God stepped in to keep them there grounded. And they've never given us any trouble at all. So I thank God that it has been a major impact. But I thank God for the type of wife that I have. Because she just got up and left, took the children, and said, "This is it. I'm not staying here. You're always gone. You have no money. You crazy. You left your good job to come and do this." And not only that, I did some crazy stuff for the Lord, because I believe by faith. That's what He told me to do. And
I love your transparency.
And but again, I did not have proper counseling. Did not have OSP to keep, to help me to balance some of this stuff. And we were navigating all this stuff ourselves.
Right.
And so there was no one there to really mentor me that I could really trust to sit down. I mean, I could always call my pastor and get a 5-10 minute conversation in, or whatever it took, or whatever. But you need somebody to help walk you through this whole process. But you were able to stand on your own, and I did not have that. And so, and I cannot afford to go to different conferences to get fed and get information on how to build a small church up from the ground up, and married couples ministry, things like that for married couples. Do they have that? I don't think we had any married couples for couples who are in ministry together. There was none like that. So it has really impacted us early on. And so
thank you for your transparency, Tony, because you most certainly have helped a number of people in ministry right now who are where you were, and they're in the beginning stages, and they're trying to make some choices. And I'm appreciating your transparency and sharing not only what you perceive to be your failures or shortcomings, but also your absolute dependence upon the grace of God. I love your word choice, for God to compensate for, and the outcome to be glorious. The outcome to be glorious. Thank you for sharing that.
That was amazing.
It was very difficult, and we were part of a church that it was a 7-day church. Well, we were birthed out of a church in Maryland. Most of you know what church it is, and we were a part of a 7-day church, and we were at church 6 days out of the week, and we loved it, and we were passionate about it. We loved it. I'm not complaining. It transformed our life. What Tony did not tell you was that first year of marriage, he was an alcoholic. He wasn't saved. And I went to the church, in a state of crisis, because I had been married for less than a year. And this man that had dated me over the phone for a year and then courted me for a year in person, flying me back and forth to DC. When I married him, I had no idea that he had a drinking problem.
Wow.
And then the Lord saved him and turned our lives up. So we were grateful to be in the local church to serve God, because God turned his life around, and he was on fire for the Lord, and he wasn't drinking every weekend. So we were excited. But, I did struggle when he told me that he felt that he was called to pastor. My whole life because I was living the bougie life in DC. I was living the bougie life. My husband had a fabulous job. He was making all this money, and I'm just a country girl from North Carolina who was wearing pick and pay shoes, and my mama was making my clothes. So I never knew about having nice things or living in a nice home or anything like that. And then here comes this man, and he's flying me back and forth to DC, you know, picking up the phone and saying, you know, baby, I miss you. There's an airline ticket for you at the airport. Pack a bag, come up. And he you know, and so it was a struggle. And then with ministry, you know, how can you tell your husband not to be a fanatic for God when God has done so much for him?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, like he said, with Brittany's diagnosis, it shook us to our core. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it. You were sitting on the sofa and he looked at me this way and he said, I guess I gotta stop and help you with the kids, because I had to go to another city and live with my daughter while she was doing all these cancer treatments. And he had to finally be the father and take care of his sons.
Wow.
Woo, it was something.
Wow.
It was something.
Wow.
Tyrone, Pam, you want to add anything to this segment?
Yes. The impact on our life is we have always been able to balance it. I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that we've always been able to balance it because we always make sure that we keep this number one, the family. And, you know, maybe not becoming a pastor earlier, you know, being in the church for over 30 years, you know, but really just being a leader and not the leader made a difference. And not having a father growing up and realizing how important that was for my family, I made sure that what I did not get from my father, I gave to my 3 kids.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I didn't miss a sporting event. I didn't miss a dance recital. I made those priority over ministry. And I think that's, you know, what kept the family so close. And the girls could see that even though we were a full part of the church and at all we did for church, we didn't let that affect what went on in the house and what was going on in their lives and their piano lessons and their hair appointments. And I mean, I worked night shifts, so I took care of the girls during the daytime. And well, Pam was working, and you know, I did the hair appointments, so I was with them at the hair appointments, the piano lessons, the dance recitals on Saturday, dance lessons, and you know, so I was very busy in their life. And I guess that's why they love church so much now, because church never became more important
than them
in our lives. And that's been something that we've held on to, and even to this day, even now being the senior pastor, we still make sure that if it's something going on with them, the church has to understand Tyrone and Pam are not going to be there because Brianna, Shayna, or TJ need us to be at that event. So I think you know, they probably give better answers to this.
Right.
But I really believe we have balanced it well, and the importance of us vacationing and stuff like that. And not in the last 3 years. I can't say it in the last 3 years, but we try to make sure we tried before
that hard left, y'all.
Before that hard left came in.
You get a pass. Oh, that's fine. You get a pass.
Yeah, we made sure that
okay.
We did the family vacation, you know, at least one family or 2 vacations a year, and then one where it was just me and Pam. That was important, that we went away from the kids. The kids would go to grandma's or auntie or whoever, and we had time to go away to make sure we cemented what we have here and keep that number one. And it's been challenging because there's sometimes, you know, being in ministry and being under a bishop that, you know, wants you there and to do so many things. I served under Bishop Douglas for.
You know something about that, right, Bishop?
Yeah, I know something about that.
For 15 years, and I'm, you know, armor bearer and all that, and took care of it and enjoyed doing it. But I had to realize that sometimes, you know, you can't let that take over. You know, you have to be able to balance that. And, my wife waiting for me, and we're closing up the church, and I got to get Bishop home, and I'm coming in late. Still got to get up and go to work in the morning. All of those things, and sometimes you don't realize the effect that it has on your spouse because you're just functioning. You're just functioning. You're doing what God has told you to do. You're doing it because you love doing it, because you love the man of God that you're serving and the people that you're serving. But you have to realize that you are not a one-man team. And, even though we become one, we got to remind ourselves that this is part of me, that this is my number one priority sitting next to me. And that's something that I try to keep. I lost track sometimes, but I try to keep that as my number one priority in my heart and in my life, that I don't forget that this woman here is who brings me the joy in my life.
That's good.
That's how we function. My wife could tell you a little bit more.
No, that's for the most part. But you also asked how you think your I remember the question, how you think your marriage is a reflection on your ministry or to the people that you minister to. And for us, we went to a church that was 25 years old. So we took over a church, and the pastor there was, number one, a woman, and number two, single.
Wow.
So the whole dynamic
has changed.
Was just very different for them because they never had a male pastor and they never had the spouse of the pastor. So trying to figure that out, and what did that look like? And for some of the women, especially the senior women, single women, they were a little like a male pastor, that whole and whatever concerns and issues they may have had. But so him walking into that, and then me, well, who are you? They didn't ever had what's the dynamic work?
What's the first lady?
Like, what's the first lady?
Right.
What's that? Because they're not even though they're Black, the pastor wasn't in the mindset of the traditional Black church.
Wow.
So very different, part of an organization that came out of Canada. What was that? Catch the Fire or something like that. And just that's a whole nother conversation. Just very different. So for that, them getting used to that, but there are young married couples with small children. So to see us and to see our children, it was like, because no one was there to help them, to feed them in their marriage, to be an example to them. And so even the older married couples, just seeing the difference, and now, just the change in them, and having someone to come to and talk it through when they have their issues, and no, this isn't the end. This is just a blip. You got this, So that has been, because our first ministry was the marriage ministry. When we joined DWC, now DBC, we were the head of the marriage ministry. And we used to always say, after every month we would have the fellowship, we would come home. This ministry isn't for them. It's for us.
It has helped us, because some of the things that would come up would be little arguments that blew up into big arguments, and we'd be like, "Oh, that sounds like us 2 years ago, 3 years ago," and we come home and laugh about it. But it taught us how to, maintain each other and keep each other number one, and enjoy each other even more, and not, and as I said from the beginning, not let the temporary issues affect what is permanent. And that becomes even more concrete in us as we continue to do this.
I think that's going to be a good hashtag for tonight. And it's also a good place for us to segue to our closing segment for tonight, because we have reached our time marker, but I don't want us to overlook this third aspect. As we look at the institution of marriage at this particular intersection in history, there are a lot of people who are saying that what we understand as the traditional model of marriage, the traditional institution, is a relic from the past. And for those of us, everyone on this particular conversation tonight, we're 3 decades plus into this enterprise. Just in our closing thoughts, what would you sow as a seed of consideration in the minds of 20-something and 30-something year olds about what you believe, what you know is valuable about this institution. I grew up hearing that marriage was good. I didn't have evidence of it because, like each one of you, on this conversation with us, I'm the product of a divorce home. I was raised by a single woman. I make it very clear my father was probably a champion among fathers, but he was a horrible husband. And so when I met Lisa with full disclosure that I'm never getting married. Marriage is not for me. In my mind, I was going to be a national evangelist and be out of town 49 weeks out of the year, come home for Christmas and get back on the road. That's what I was going to do, and never wanted to be married. But here I am 30 years later, and I can say what others said to me back then. Oh, just hold on. Marriage is good. It's good. It's work, but it's a good thing. So if we were to sow a seed in its simplest and the shortest way we can put it out there tonight, what would you say to those, again, on the road behind us about the viability of the institution that we know as marriage? We'll start with the Zimmermans and work our way back to the top of the screen.
So my husband said it's on me. So I would just say to the young couples, the newly married couples, they may not all be young, but newly married couples, you know, my sister's getting married. She's 46, first time. So that is a newly married couple. And just be committed to the commitment. Sometimes it's hard to the person, but be committed to the commitment, number one. And number two, honor. Sometimes you lose way with the person because you see the person, but honor the position that they hold. And you know, sometimes I have to honor my husband. I don't like Tyrone, but I honor the position he holds in my life. My husband, you know, like you have your CEO, you have your job, so you have to. You don't like the
Don't
CEO.
encourage her.
No, I do. It's good. It's good. So the CEO,
Tyrone, sometimes she just don't like you.
The CEO, you know, you don't like your boss, but that's still your boss. You honor that position. So same thing with your spouse. You still honor the position. And if you find yourself flailing, get help. You see somebody building the house is standing, go to them and help them to build your house. Don't do it alone. Don't go to your friends. They may or may not know. Go to the people that are solid, that will help you to stay in this thing.
That's all I had. Just ask. Always, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's right.
Please.
If I knew that in my first 3 years of marriage, we'd be further along than we are now.
Right.
That was good. That was rich. Marguerite Grant.
Yeah, I would say not to assume. We all know when you assume what you do. So, yeah. But I would say not to assume. Definitely talk things out. And I think communication, and that I really strongly believe that communication is a strong key. Communication, communicate with one another, talk it out. Don't assume. You got to talk it out. Even if you like have to yell at each other, you know, come back and talk it out, talk it over.
Right.
If I had an opportunity to leave something or by way of encouragement for like generations coming up, I would certainly say that marriage is honorable. It is honorable. It validates me as a man that I can honor a woman by giving her my last name.
Wow, good.
And I mean, this generation or the younger generations, if they don't do anything, they want to be honorable and they want to be, you know, stand-up people. Well, I don't know of a more stand-up and honorable institution than the institution of marriage. And so I would highlight that and say, look, you want to do something honorable in the earth, find a wife and give her your name. That's honorable. That's what I would leave with them.
I think for me, I would share with those coming behind us that the love is worth fighting for. No matter what comes against you, the love is worth fighting for.
Yeah.
When he's not perfect, the love is worth fighting for.
That's right.
When you lose 3 children, the love is worth fighting for. And hanging in there and fighting for what you know to be true is that the love that you have for each other is worth fighting for. And that's what I would leave with young people.
That's good. That's good, Mel.
I would add to that. It was always been a saying of mine in marriage. Don't change how a person feels, because how your spouse feels is how your spouse feels. You're not in the business of changing people's feelings, and never tell your spouse, why do you feel like that? And try to overlook your spouse's feelings, but sit down and try to listen. Communication, just not only talking, but communication, just listening.
That's true.
What it is they are saying, and to see how you can facilitate and how you can help or to understand how they feel. You don't necessarily have to accept it, but how they feel about something, and learn how to adopt, because marriage is about compromise. And you've got to work together with your spouse, and to know, like Grant said, it's about honor, and to know that your vows that you made was not to each other, but your vows you made were to God. And God expects you to hold those vows and to always respect one another's feelings and try to work with one another and how they feel. And you can slowly bring them to your understanding. Or in this particular case, you can slowly bring me to that particular understanding. But how a person feels is how a person feels.
That's right.
Right.
Let me add a 10-second caveat to that, to what I said about honor, because, and one, I kind of reemphasize the whole honor piece. You're not honoring a woman by impregnating her and being stand-up, by being a good dad to the child. If she was worth having sex with and laying down with and impregnating, she should be worth your name.
Wow.
That's good.
That's real good. Wow. Tell us how you.
I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
No, that's
that.
That's rich. That's rich.
I'm gonna let that
sit. Word. That is a good word.
Yeah. I definitely would say
put a ring on it.
Yeah.
That's right. If you want to like put a ring on it, come on. But yeah, I think that for young people, when we look at these celebrity couples and we see how marriages, easy come, easy go, people get married and then they get divorced very quickly. And so I can see how some young people are disillusioned by it.
Yeah.
But I would say to them that marriage is good, and marriage can be viable. Marriage can be such a blessing in your life if you allow it to be. And I mean, there's so much that can come from it, and then, right now everybody's in common law, and, people are satisfied with common law, but there's so much that you don't get when you're in a common law relationship. I mean, there's so many benefits. We want to talk about, reality. There's so many benefits. You talk about financial benefits that you don't get. And then not just that, but spiritual benefits and emotional benefits that you don't get when you, like you said, Grant, you don't have that last name, when you're not, when you're living together, but at the end of the day, it's two people living together. But when you are in covenant, it's just something that common law can never give you. I can't explain it. I mean, it makes you just don't get it. You won't get that same sense of fulfillment, that same sense of what's the word I want to use?
Security.
That's it. Security that comes, and that same sense of honor that comes when you are in covenant with someone. So I would encourage young people out there to, don't forsake it. There's still so much good in marriage.
Yeah, they're selling themselves short.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank everyone for sharing tonight, and thank the Zimmermans, the Thompsons, the
you.
Boones for joining us.
Having us.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Anniversary.
It was absolutely our hope that as we came to this airing tonight in the week of our 30th anniversary, we actually celebrated 30 years on Tuesday night. And it's our hope that we could do for those who are on the road behind us what we had hoped people would have done for us, and in many instances did, to show that marriage is honorable, that marriage is joyful, but that marriage requires work. But it's good.
Yeah.
It's good work.
Good work.
And there's nothing about hard work that has ever hurt anyone.
That's right.
It builds character.
Yeah.
Character only enhances the value of the destiny that we walk into. And so I want to encourage and thank everyone who tuned in tonight on all 3 social
Thank
media
you.
platforms to share with us tonight on Late Night with the Harvins, and encourage you to glean everything that you need from, whether it's from the Zimmermans, from the Boones, from the Thompsons, or over here at home with the Harvins here in the late night. And we know that we believe in the power of love, and the fact that the power of love helps us build families that are whole and are strong and are able to positively impact the world in which we live, and certainly to usher in the kingdom of our God. Because at the end of the day, the underpinning of everything that you heard discussed and shared today, there is one common thread. His name is Jesus, and I'm here to tell you, Jesus makes all the difference in our lives. Go forward and live a life of love, live a life of harmony, and help somebody, because guess what? Tonight, somebody helped you. All right. Thank you for joining us for Late Night with the Harvins. Let me get our soundtrack music on. Going home. I don't want to hear my wife talk about me.
Love you, Pam and Tyrone. Love you, man.
Love you guys.
Being with us tonight. We'll be back next week with another. We got a special guest coming on next week. You're going to be with us. We're going to talk about marriage and passion. Ooh, what happens in the late night when you like the
Melody and Tony know all about that.
That's that good trouble.
That's not Melody and Tony Moore. That's Abraham and Sarah. Godfather of them all. I want to be Godfather to Isaac right there. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, love you.